Mr. Jones. Created by Cy Gomberg. Starring James Whitmore.
Good thing the judge granted that continuance.
Yes, but we've got to push to get ready for court by tomorrow.
Yeah, well, those matching contracts have to get out this afternoon, too.
You're telling me. Hi, Tom.
Mr. Jones?
What's a good word?
Oh, I got a good one today.
Oh, what is it?
Error of opinion may be tolerated, where reason is left free to combat it.
Error of opinion may be tolerated. I know that. Reason to...
Looks like he's got you this time.
No, he hasn't. That's Thomas Paine.
Nope, it's one of your favorites.
Who?
Thomas Jefferson.
No.
His first inaugural address. You can look it up. 2 bits, please.
You know this game's getting expensive.
You started it. Bye, Mr. Jones.
Goodbye, Tom.
You know, if your money holds out, he'll wind up a walking encyclopedia.
He's a great kid. Look, remind me to call Internal Revenue about that Matson claim, will you?
Yes, ma'am? Paper, sir, latest edition.
Your name Tommy Pierce?
Yes, sir?
You're supposed to be in school, aren't you, boy?
No. Leave me alone.
I just want you to come along with me, Tommy. Come on.
Mr. Jones! Mr. Jones! Mr. Jones! Mr. Jones!
What is it? What's the matter?
Please don't let him take me.
Wait, hold it. Who are you? Well, listen, Tommy. My name's Williamson. I'm a school attendance officer, Mr. Oh, Jones, my name. I'm an attorney. I live here. Oh, you know the boy? Friend of mine.
Mr. Jones, Mr. Webster's on the phone about those contracts.
Oh, see, look, would you take it in, read it to him, the rough draft, and slowly, huh?
Right.
So what's this all about, Mr. Williamson?
Well, it's a truancy problem. He's out of school.
Oh, that's right. This is a weekday.
He seems to have had a little set-to with his teacher and walked out. That's been a week ago.
A week?
She hates me. She's always picking on me. I can't go back. I won't.
Oh, now, wait. Look, do you know what happened?
All I know is he ran out of a class a week ago and he hasn't been back since.
I had to, Mr. Jones. Miss Wood, she was picking on me. She always does. Everything I say is always wrong. Everybody else is right. She says I'm always wrong.
Well, come on, Tommy. We'll go find your mother and get this all straightened out. I dropped over at their house, but she's not there.
Oh, she works.
Yes, I know. It seems she's changed jobs, and I just don't...
Oh, I see. Tommy, where does your mother work now?
I don't want to tell him.
Well, you're going to have to tell him. Now, where does she work? Tommy.
Frederick's restaurant downtown.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. I'll drop over and see her. Now, come on, Tommy.
No. I'll go back to school.
Could I see to it that he goes back to school?
Okay.
Goodbye.
Do I have to go back?
Well, of course you've got to go back. You shouldn't have left in the first place, young man. You're going to go back right now. Now, go on. Tommy, would you like me to go back with you? Look, it's not going to be that bad.
Mr. Jones?
Yeah.
I read Mr. Webster the rough draft, sir.
Oh, was he happy with it?
He said it was so rough it made him seasick.
It's very funny. Look, see, it's now 12. I'll be back by 1 o'clock, and I'll call him then.
If his mother were at all concerned about this, she would most certainly have come to see Mr. Lancashire when the truancy notice reached her.
Well, was a truancy notice sent?
Yes, it was mailed to her. It's a regular procedure.
Excuse me. Tommy, you know if your mother got a notice in the mail about your not being in school? Do you, son? Tommy, I ask you a question. Did you take that notice? Well, what did you do with it? Tommy, why would you take a letter meant for your mother?
I was afraid. She'd make me come back to school.
Well, I guess there's nothing more to be said. I'm sure we're all agreed the most important thing now is to get the boy back into class where he belongs.
Yes, of course.
Would you like to go back to class, Tommy? All right. Now, if you will apologize for your behavior in front of the other students and promise to be more cooperative in the future, we'll try to forget everything that's happened. Now, will you do that?
Yes, Miss Woods.
Come along, Tommy.
Miss Woods, may I? Tommy, something Miss Woods said is very important. And that is that when you act up in class, you don't hurt just yourself, but you hurt the other students as well. You understand that?
Thank you, Mr. Joe.
Miss Woods?
All right, Tommy.
It's never easy to grow up.
No. You tend to forget it, don't we?
I'm afraid so. Well, thanks for bringing him back, Mr. Jones.
Pleasure.
It's always nice to know people are interested in how our children are doing.
Goodbye, sir. Bye.
Mr. Lancashire?
Yes, I'm Mr. Lancashire.
I'm Tommy's mother, Mrs. Pierce. I got here as soon as I could. It's the lunch hour, and my boss didn't want me to leave the restaurant as it is.
You know Mr. Jones.
No, we've never met. How do you do, Mrs. Pierce?
Hello, Mr. Jones. Tommy talks about you all the time. Where is Tommy? The officer said that he came back here.
Yes, he did with Mr. Jones, and everything is all right.
I've been terribly worried. I didn't know a thing about it. What was working every day, all day long since Tommy's father died, and... Well, I just didn't want you to think that... Well, you know.
Yes, I see. Well, you come into my office, and I'll explain what happened.
Thank you.
Goodbye, Miss Pierce.
Oh, goodbye. Oh, thank you, Mr. Jones, for helping out with Tommy.
That's perfectly all right. He's a fine boy.
Yes, he is, isn't he? He said he wants to be a lawyer.
Well, he might just make it. Goodbye.
Goodbye. You know, I can't stay very long. My boss...
Paragraph 14. In the event of the failure of... No, strike that. No, in the event that the party of the first part fails to meet his obligation to the party of the second part on the due date, April...
Excuse me.
Huh?
Tommy's here with his mother.
What for?
Well, he ran away from school again, sir.
Oh, no.
Mr. Jones, April what?
19. Mrs. Pierce, what's this all about?
Mr. Jones, I don't know what I'm going to do. He left school again. This time when I was there, he ran home. If I have to keep chasing around after him like this, I'm going to lose my job for sure.
Well, look, I'm rather busy at the moment, but as soon as I'm free, I'll call the principal and straighten this out. And, young man, I want you to come back after school, and you and I are going to have a real
It isn't going
talk.
to do any good to call the principal. I called him from home. He's going to refer to the Board of Education. You know what that could mean. Suspension. They could expel
going to
him.
happen.
He's always been a good boy. He's never gotten into any kind of trouble. It's your fault. Did you know that?
What do you mean?
You were the one that made him run away and fight with his teacher. He told me.
How, Mrs. Pierce?
He said he couldn't stay in school and do what Miss Woods wanted because of something you told him.
Something Tommy, what did I tell you?
Above all, to thine own self be true. Shakespeare. It's one of your favorites. And you said you believed it.
Well, I do believe it, Tommy.
Me too. Then I don't have to go back to that school.
You see, that's what I mean. He's been filling his head with nonsense.
I'm not so sure it is nonsense now. Wait here, will you please? See, would you take the car and drive Miss Pierce back to the restaurant, please?
Right now?
Right now, and hurry, huh?
Yes, sir.
Miss Pierce, I'll finish the Webster contract as soon as I get back. Nonsense, huh?
Mr. Jones, what happened?
What happened? The usual happened. Just because Tommy Pierce, the little boy, all the adults concerned, figured he had to be wrong. I'm going to take him back to school and find out what this is all about.
Mr. Jones!
I'm sorry, Mr. Jones, but we'll have to take drastic action. After all, our patience isn't inexhaustible.
Well, I quite understand that, Mr. Lancashire. However, this time I took the trouble to learn Tommy's side of the story. And may I check it against Miss Wood's version, please?
Of course.
Thank you. Miss Woods, as I understand it, you asked Tommy to name the hero of the Battle of the Little Bighorn. Is that correct?
That's correct.
He said Sitting Bull was the hero, where the book says that General Custer was the hero. Tommy refused to accept what the book said, and you told him to write General Custer is a hero 100 times on the blackboard. Rather than do that, he ran from the room. Now he's being asked to promise that he will never disagree with you again or be expelled from school. Is that right?
Tommy, would you please leave the room? Young man, I've taught American history for 35 years. I believe I'm the proper judge of what to tell my pupils.
Miss Woods, I quite agree with that, but let me ask you, do you think that history is an exact science?
Of course not.
Wouldn't you say that the lessons to be learned from the study of history very often are a matter of individual interpretation?
Are you attempting to quiz me?
No, Miss Woods, I'm not attempting to quiz you. I'm simply suggesting that many scholars and historians disagree about General Custer's place in American history. He was a controversial figure, wasn't he?
The question of Sitting Bull or Custer isn't important. What is important is Tommy's attitude in class.
Well, I quite agree. Wouldn't you say that his attitude in class indicated a boy with an inquiring mind who's trying to think with the facts that he's been given?
Mr. Jones, I'm sure Miss Woods is competent to teach her subject as she sees fit. All she seems to want is for the boy to apologize. If he's willing, that should end the matter once and for all.
I think there's something more here, Mr. Lancashire. I think there's something very basic. Miss Woods is asking this boy to waive his right to dissent, to promise never to think for himself again. She's challenging his right to hold an unpopular opinion. And I think it's too high a price to pay. And I'll tell you something else. If I were his father or otherwise had authority over this boy, I wouldn't let him do it.
Well, I do have some authority over the boy, Mr. Jones. And I say that he'll either do as he's required or, well, you know the alternatives.
I'm not sure what you're threatening, Mr. Lancashire.
I am not threatening, Mr. Jones. If Tommy cannot bring himself to attend school here, then clearly there is only one alternative. Now, on the other hand, we have no wish to hurt Tommy. We want him to come back.
Price is too high, Mr. Lancashire. First of all, he's got to apologize to his classmates, and then he's got to promise to never question the dictates of his teacher again.
Do you deny my rights to impose discipline on pupils who refuse to conform to classroom standards of behavior? After all, Tommy did leave the room without permission.
Yes, but why, Miss Woods? His integrity had been threatened. He was a frightened little boy, and he was being bullied.
Mr. Jones.
Did you say bullied?
I apologize for the use of the word. I meant no disrespect. Believe me, I was simply trying to show why he behaved as he did. Miss Woods, I think that the right to disagree with constituted authority is fundamental in a strong democracy.
Are you trying to acquaint me with our Constitution, Mr. Jones? I was teaching that when you were still in grade school.
Well, then you certainly know that if a child must accept what his teacher says blindly, then it follows that 2 + 2 can be 5.
Mr. Jones!
Or slavery is freedom, or right is wrong.
Mr. Lancashire, in the last few moments, I've heard myself described as a bully, an opponent of civil rights, and a tyrant. I don't have to stay here and stand for such abuse.
Please, Miss Woods. Mr. Jones, you've gone much too far. Miss Woods was teaching in this school when I came here. She is perhaps the best teacher in this school, or any other school in this city for that matter. I consider it an honor to work with her, and I have no intention of allowing her to be abused.
I apologize, Miss Woods. I was talking about a principle. A very important principle.
Well, I'm sorry, Mr. Jones, but I must support Miss Woods in this matter. And this is final. The boy may return to his class, but he must do as Miss Woods asks. Well, I'll get the boy.
Tommy? It's been decided that you'll go back to class.
You mean it's all right?
It's important that you go back to class. Miss Woods?
Now, Tommy, you will, of course, apologize in front of the other students for your behavior. Now, is that understood?
Yes, ma'am.
And you must promise to be more cooperative in the future. You must not dispute what you're told.
Yes, ma'am. Miss Woods, will I have to write Custer was the hero of the little bighorn on the blackboard?
Yes, Tommy. I'm afraid you will.
Mr. Jones, you said that the truth was the most important thing in the world, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Now, I don't understand.
You don't understand what, Tommy?
Well, according to the book, all that land was given to the Indians by a treaty. Nobody was supposed to come in there. Then the settlers found some gold in the Black Hills. Then everybody came in to dig it all up. Didn't Sitting Bull and Crazy Horse have the right to make them get off their land?
Well, those settlers were American citizens. It was up to the government, not the Indians. What is it, Tommy?
If Custer worked for the government, he ought to have got on the settlers, not the Indians. They were only standing up for their rights.
He was following his orders. He was told to protect the settlers.
Didn't he know that was wrong?
He wasn't the one to decide. He had to do as he was told.
Like me, huh?
Yes, Tommy. Just like you. Anything else?
According to the book, Miss Woods, Custer was to wait for reinforcements. It was an order from the general. But he didn't know there were so many Indians up there. So he took 200 soldiers and went anyway. If he could disobey his orders that time and get so many soldiers killed by Crazy Horse, how come he couldn't disobey orders before that and make those settlers go home?
What's the answer, Miss Woods?
I don't know. I suppose when a person's been teaching as long as I have, something's bound to get lost. Those years, and all those young faces. In the beginning, you knew why you wanted to teach. But after a time, I suppose you forget. You stop looking for that little light in a child's face. The light that tells you that you've put an idea in his head, that you put a scratch on his brain that can grow into a canyon of knowledge. You start looking for ways to make your job easier. You adopt a mechanical approach to your work. Time comes when you don't even know that a robbery's taken place. You can't say when or where it happened. Tommy, you were right. You were right to think for yourself. You were right, and I was wrong. You don't have to write on the board or apologize. I apologize to you.
All right, Tommy. You may go back to class now.
Yes, sir.
Tommy. I'll walk you back. Kind of pleased with yourself, huh?
What?
Well, you're happy the way the thing turned out.
Well, I was right, Mr. Jones. You said I was, didn't you?
Here's one for a quarter. Who said it takes more courage to admit you were wrong than to maintain you were right?
Thomas Jefferson?
No. No, one of my favorites.
Who?
Me. You remembered? You owe me a quarter.
Yes, sir.